My wife Maya and I had been married for not quite 3 years and were still in the honeymoon phase of our marriage when I got the shock of my life. At the time, I didn't believe we could have gotten along better than we did. It seemed that everything each of us did was based on how it would benefit the other, or us as a couple. I was normally a shy guy and a little socially awkward. I had friends, but Maya was the love of my life, and I was perfectly okay with my friends calling me PSY whipped. While I would never blow off Maya to be with my friends, I had no problem blowing off my friends to be with Maya. We were at the point in our marriage where we were seriously considering children in the not-too-distant future. We were in our late 20s, but still couldn't get enough of each other, and doing pretty well financially. We were leasing a mid-size split-level home with the option to buy, and were seriously considering it. It was in an older neighborhood that was sprinkled with elderly couples, middle-aged couples, and young couples like us. Maya and I weren't perfect, even though I constantly tried to convince her that I was. We both had quirks, but we always picked up where the other was a little weaker. Maya hated to load and unload the dishwasher. No problem, I did it. I, with a passion, hated cleaning up after the dog. Maya did it without complaint. Maya was colorblind. I hated gory movies and TV shows. Maya never put them on. This was persona non grata in our home. It seemed that we truly wanted the other's life to be as enjoyable as possible. I was a little bit of a germaphobe. Maya would help me avoid things that would skeeve me out. I worked as a regional sales manager and had to travel once every couple months, but only for one night, 2 tops. Although I was normally shy, I was able to open up when it came to the products my company sold. I was very well compensated for my job. We didn't need for Maya to work, but she wanted to, and took a job at a local kennel that had been turned onto a doggy daycare. They didn't usually take dogs for long-term, but they did occasionally for special customers. I guess doggy daycare sounds better than kennel. Presently she worked part-time, 3 days a week, but I think she wanted to work more, and had even hinted at opening her own such business. It was a Thursday evening prior to an overnight trip for me. I would be leaving early in the morning and make a 7-hour drive to Buffalo. I would meet with our client in the late afternoon for a couple hours, then spend the night in a local hotel. I would then head home Saturday. I figured I would be home around 2 p.m. Traffic on the Schuylkill Expressway was sometimes brutal, so I figured I would leave really early in the morning, just in case. I'd left the office early Thursday so I could cook a nice dinner for us. I expected to get home well before Maya, and sure enough, when I got home, the house was empty. I figured I would make a spaghetti dinner with grilled chicken and garlic bread. I'm a ragu kind of guy, so it certainly wasn't difficult to fix and well inside my wheelhouse. I cracked open a beer while I worked and Maya walked in just before I finished. "Hey, beautiful, how was work?" "Great as always," she replied. "Nice, that must truly be your dream job. You get to play with dogs all day and hardly ever have to deal with any people." "It really is. I think we should seriously look into starting our own. These people pay a ridiculous amount of money to have us play with their dogs all day." I smiled back and, trying to make small talk, said, "We can certainly look into it." "Hey, whatever happened to the high school kids they hired? You were talking about them and their high school drama a lot for a while there." "Lately, not so much." "It was a boy and a girl, right? They were dating each other?" "Oh, yeah. Carrie quit. Andrew still works there, though." "That sucks," I said. "What happened? Playing with dogs seems to be a perfect job for a high school chick." "I don't know," she thought. "Andrew was cheating on her." "That's gotta suck. Did she catch him?" "No, she never actually caught him. I think other people were getting in her ear. You know how high school kids are. He never actually did anything." "How would you know?" I laughed. "He may have been screwing half the girls in his high school." "Well, of course, I don't know what he did when he wasn't at work." She seemed a little exasperated. "God," I said, To be 18 again and in high school knowing what I know now." "The poet is right," said the princess. "He's actually 19, almost 20. He failed a couple times when he was younger." "Whatever. Any more word on your ex, Luke?" "What? No. All I know is what Kendall told me. He's been back for a few weeks on leave. I think she said he's leaving soon for Germany." "Good. If he tries to get a hold of you, let me know. He's an asshole. I'm pretty sure he's figured out to stay away from me," he said. "I only hit him once, and it wasn't that bad." "Hey, garlic bread's ready, let's eat. How about we go to bed early tonight? I really want to do some bad things to you." "It's working for me." "You got it, handsome. Let's eat." We ate the meal, then cleaned up together. When we were done, we went to the bathroom and jumped into the oversized shower together. We took a nice long shower that included a lot of groping, then took it to the bedroom. Maya and I had a very active love life. It wasn't unusual for us to have makeout daily. Most of the time it was a quickie in the morning, and it's certainly my libido that drives it. She knows I have a very high love drive and happily acquiesces. It's part of our compromises for each other. This was one of those very rare weeks where we skipped 2 days in a row, and I was horny as hell. We turned on the ceiling fan over the bed and went at it. The very first thing I did was make sure she got off by going down on her. After that, I pretty much climbed up and took her. The first was frantic, and I didn't last long. The second was slower, but still pretty quick. After number 2, she laid on my chest and asked, "Got one more in you?" "Aha!" I laughed a little and said, "Yeah, but I'm gonna need about 15 minutes and a cup of juice." After the third, which was much slower and drawn out, I was done. "I'm out, beautiful. Even juice isn't gonna do it." Maya laughed and said, "Okay, I'm gonna jump back in the shower. You get the wet spot." "No worries, sweetness. You jump in the shower. I'll change the sheets." I heard the shower start up as I pulled off the maroon set and replaced them with a dark blue set. I quick ran downstairs and put the dirty sheets in the washing machine and started it. After I was done, I stepped into the bathroom and Maya was just about done. I told her to leave it running and climbed back in. I washed quickly, mostly paying attention to the important parts. When I got into the bedroom, Maya was already in bed and had the TV on. I climbed in, and she snuggled back against me. Maya? Spoiler alert, they don't find anything on Oak Island. I know. It was this or bones. You never know, maybe they'll find something this week. Let's leave this on and find out, but that's what I thought you'd say. Good night, David. I love you. Good night, Maya. I love you too. Maya took the hand I had draped over her and brought it to her face and kissed the palm of my hand. I love you so much, David. I don't know what I'd do without you. I kissed her on her neck, right behind her ear, and replied, "That's something you'll never have to worry about." To the power of water, to the power of water, to the power of water. To the power of water, 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 to the power of water. In her book, Abandon Us, Rachel Hawkins says, quote, "I got up at 4:30 and quietly left the bedroom without waking up Maya. I put coffee on and proceeded to get dressed in the clothes I would be wearing for the drive up to Buffalo. I put some coffee in a travel mug and headed for the front door. I picked up my gym bag, which had a change of clothes and some toiletries, and headed out to my truck. I headed through Woodbury and stopped at the Colonial Diner for a breakfast sandwich. I figured I would run in and get one to go and be on the road in 5 minutes or so, and it would be better than McDonald's. I went inside and up to the counter, and who happened to be sitting there? Maya's ex-boyfriend, Luke Williamson. He was sitting with his father and his younger sister Claire. I had exactly zero interest in interacting with asshole. He had been Maya's last boyfriend before we began dating. She broke up with him when he backhanded her. After we had started dating, we had run into him at a BBQ thrown by mutual friends, and he got drunk and started making a scene. He started saying very loudly that she would be crawling back to him because she wouldn't be able to resist him. But his death inspired me to reach out to my sons. At one point he got up and staggered over to me, and with a stupid grin on his face and in a very loud voice said, "Yo, Dave, doesn't Maya give—" That was all he got out before I punched him in the mouth. A bunch of guys jumped between us, and a couple of his friends took him out of the party. I was widely accepted that Luke had crossed a line and deserved what he got. There was never any retaliation or revenge. In fact, it pretty much died that day. I, however, still carried a little bit of a grudge. He went into the army shortly after that, and I haven't seen him for a couple years. Until now. Luke stood up and held out his hand. "Dave, how are you? It's been a long time." Luke's father was sitting next to him, and his sister on the other side of his father. I didn't really want to be an ignorant asshole, so I took his hand and gave it a little squeeze. "Hello, Luke. How's the army?" His father smiled at me, and his little sister Claire had a smile that had to hurt, it was so big. I assumed that Luke's family never heard about why Maya broke up with him, or about our little altercation. But when they did talk about it, they referred to it as a memory. "Oh, it's keeping me busy. Lots of business. I'm about to leave for a posting in Germany for 3 years. I leave tomorrow." "That's great," I may have said with a little too much enthusiasm. "Hey, look, Dave, the past is the past. I'm sorry for acting like a jackass back in the day. I know I was out of line, and I'm not that kid anymore." I stared at him for what felt like an uncomfortable amount of time, which was probably about 5 seconds, and said, "Okay, Luke, I appreciate that. Good luck in Germany," and started to turn around. "Thanks, Dave. Drive safe to Buffalo." I picked up my sandwich off the counter and got another coffee in a to-go cup and walked out to my truck. I drove across the Walt Whitman Bridge, went through Philly, and started the long drive to Buffalo. Maya called at 10 a.m. and said that her boss called and asked if she could go in at noon, even though she doesn't normally work on Fridays. Since I wasn't there anyway, she decided to go in. I told her to have fun with the dogs, and I would talk to her later. I pulled into Buffalo just before 3 and went directly to the client's offices. By 5:30 I was done and was trying to decide where to go for dinner. I know when you're in Buffalo you're supposed to go to one of the places famous for wings, but I'm not really a wings guy. I hit a small pub in the city and had a great meal and headed to the hotel room I had reserved. By 8:30 I was in my room and exhausted. I took a quick shower and was ready to hit the sack. I called Maya, but the call went to voicemail. "Hey, sweetness, sorry I missed you. I'm in the hotel room now and about to hit the sack. I plan to be up and on the road really early and hopefully home by 12-ish. See you then, I love you." My head hit the pillow and I was out like a light. Being asleep by 8:30 meant I was up by 3:30. I was up and dressed and walking out to my truck by 4. I saw a text from Maya that she had sent at 11 the previous night. "Sorry I missed your call. I was by the free and didn't hear it. Please shrieve careful." Apparently she had partaken of some alcoholic beverages before sending the text. I didn't bother responding. I figured I would call her a little later and perhaps fill her in on the text. The good thing about starting at 4 is that there is virtually no traffic and all the cops are catching up on paperwork in quiet, hidden places. After driving for a while, I stopped in Danville to fuel up and grab a bite. I was back on the road in about 20 minutes and making great time. At 9, I called Maya, and she answered on the 4th ring. Hello?" Started laughing. "Maya, you okay? Did I wake you up?" Um, yeah, I was up really late. I had a couple friends over last night and had a fire in the pit. Okay, look, I was able to get up really early and I'm making good time. I should be home by 11. That seemed to wake her up. Oh, okay. I'll have the place cleaned up by then. I laughed a little and said, how cleaned up does it need to get? I was gone for 1 day. Ah, no, there isn't much. I just need to straighten up, that's all. It's mostly stuff in the backyard. Whatever, I'll see you around 11. I love you. I love you too, David. Please drive carefully, okay? I'll see you when you get here. Okay, sweetheart. I'll see you soon. I pushed the phone disconnect button on the steering wheel and Sweet Home Alabama started coming through the speakers. I accelerated up to 80 and settled back in the seat. I remembered feeling shameful about not telling my wife that I was in rehab before leaving home. A little before 11, I pulled into our driveway and turned off the truck. I got out and stretched and grabbed my duffel bag. I went into the house and loudly proclaimed, "Maya, your Lord and Master has returned." I stepped outside and said, "Maya, your Lord and Master has returned." I beckoned her into the house. "I'm in the kitchen." "Exactly where you should be," I joked. "Would you happen to be barefoot, pregnant? You're such an ass. You know you clean the kitchen more than I do. I will never admit such a thing to anyone who does not live here." "Whatever. Hungry? Want to go grab something to eat?" "Sure, what do you want to do?" "Let's pick up a couple hoagies at Wawa and head over to Lake Alcyon." Okay. That used to be a super fun site, right? Um, Stop it. You know it's been cleaned up for years. If you start growing a thumb out of your forehead, I'll just cut it off. We had a really nice lunch by the lake. I told Maya I ran into Luke in the diner with his father and little sister, and she wanted to know pretty much every word we said. We fed the ducks with bread from our hoagies, then walked down Main Street, Pittman, for a while. We basically spent the day together just hanging out with each other, running errands, grocery shopping, and enjoying each other's company. It was really nice. We got home around 7 p.m. and put away all the stuff we bought and plopped down on the couch. I laid my head back and said, "Man, I'm freaking exhausted. How about a beer and some frozen pizza?" "That sounds great. I'll find something mindless on TV because I don't think I'll be up long tonight." Sure enough, by 8:30 I was trudging up to our bedroom. I undressed, went into the bathroom and brushed my teeth, then went back into the bedroom and climbed into bed. Crawled into my side of the bed and rolled over onto my left side toward the center. I pulled the comforter and top sheet up to my chin, then closed my eyes. I laid there for about 5 seconds, then realized what I had seen. My eyes popped open. What I was looking at just didn't make sense. I was only gone 1 day. I was now wide awake. I pulled on a pair of pajama bottoms and went downstairs. Maya was watching TV but didn't see me as her back was to me. I went into the laundry room, and there it was, the dark blue bottom sheet. Right there in the laundry chute. There weren't many reasons to change a sheet after 1 day. Maya had obviously been the one to change it, because the one on the bed was the wrong color. Colorblind, Maya had changed out the blue one with a green one. I stood there looking at the sheet and thinking about Luke telling me to drive safely to Buffalo. I didn't really want to touch the sheet, but I carefully pulled it out and grabbed a t-shirt from the floor. I balled up the sheet and put it into the t-shirt and threw it on the floor between the washer and the wall, where it wouldn't be seen. I went back upstairs and grabbed another clean sheet. I shook it out and threw it down the laundry chute, so she would think that was the dirty one. I really didn't know what I was going to do with the dirty one. It's not like I was going to send it out to be analyzed. I just felt like I should keep it since she had tried to hide it. I climbed back into bed and again started thinking about Luke telling me to drive safely to Buffalo. I was praying that his departure to Germany would be delayed for a few days so I could get with him. After about an hour of laying there and trying to figure out how I could maim Luke without going to prison, Maya came into the room. I pretended to be asleep with my back to her. She snuggled up against my back and I felt her kiss my shoulder and eventually fall asleep. I don't know how much longer I laid there awake, but I woke up at 8 a.m. and I could hear the shower running. A morning shower usually meant that she could be coming back to bed for a morning quickie, and I really didn't feel like it. I got out of bed and grabbed a pair of running shorts, a t-shirt, and a pair of socks. By the time Maya came downstairs, I had my sneakers on. Maya came down dressed and said, "Hey, dog shop called and asked if I could come in for a few hours. You don't mind, do you?" "Nope, knock yourself out." I know my voice had a flatness to it. She looked at me a little funny and said, "You sure? I could call them back and tell them I can't make it. If you have some plans for us, I can stay here." "Nope, go ahead and go." "David, is everything okay?" "Yep, do what you need to do." "Okay, I should be back around 12 or 1. "Okay, have fun with the dogs." "Okay, I'm going to throw some laundry in, then take off. See you when you get back." "Okay, I love you, David." "I love you too." Maya went and threw what she thought was the dirty sheet into the washing machine with a few other things, then left for the kennel. I changed into jeans, then jumped into my truck and headed to Luke's parents' house. When I walked up to the front door and rang the bell, Luke's younger sister, Claire, answered and gave me a huge smile. "Dave, how are you? Twice in 3 days? You stalking me?" "Hi, Claire. No. As much as I would like to, I'm not stalking you." "Is Luke around?" "Nope, he left yesterday morning for Germany. Kinda surprised you're here to see him, though. I thought you guys didn't like each other." "Well, Claire, can I ask you a few questions?" "Sure, what's in it for me?" "What do you mean? What do you want?" "Well, if you ever split up with Maya, you have to make sure I'll be the first one you ask out," she said with a smile. Sure. You'll be the first one I call. I just need to ask you a few questions." Deal 5'2", 110, 23 years old. Puppies and walks on the beach. I laughed good-naturedly. Not the answers to the questions I had in mind, but impressive. "When did Luke leave?" "My dad drove him to the airport yesterday morning. He had to fly out of Newark." "Wow, they must have left really early. What did he do Friday night?" "Shockingly, he spent the night here, with us." "He was here with you guys all night? Really?" Really. He had to be at Newark by like 7. They planned to leave here by 5, so he stayed here all night. We had some family over and had a barbecue and just sat out back and reminisced. It was actually fun. I got to hear stories about my dad and my uncles that were pretty funny. "He never left? No beer runs or anything? You're sure?" "Geez, Dave, he went into the house to pee at around 10. I mean, I didn't follow him in or anything. I assume he did. Swear to God, he never left before going to the airport." I know Claire didn't have a reason to lie, but things weren't adding up. "Okay, Claire, thanks. I gotta go." "Okay, it's really good to see you, Dave. Remember our deal?" "Sure thing," I laughed. "I'll see you later." This wasn't making sense. I drove back to the house and put some rubber gloves on. I got the t-shirt with the dirty sheet in it and took it into the backyard. I spread the sheet out on the grass and put some rocks on the corners to hold it down. I was hoping to see where Maya had maybe vomited on it or a big pee stain. I could live with either. Nope, there it was, the obvious signs of intimacy. I threw some bricks on the corners to make sure it wouldn't get blown away and left it there. I went into the house and changed into hiking boots. I got into my truck and headed to the kennel. I was confronting that lady right now. I know I probably should have waited for her to come home. I just couldn't help myself. I needed to get this over and done with. There was no more waiting. I had no desire to collect more evidence. I certainly didn't need to see video of her screwing someone in my bed. I pulled into the kennel and parked near the front entrance. I went in the front door and through the lobby and into the kennel area where the dog's inside runs were. I saw Maya walking towards me, smiling. "Hey, you. I just put the last of the dogs away for the day. What are you doing here?" By this point, I was really pissed. "Explain the sheet, Maya." "Wait, what?" "The sheet. I changed the sheets Friday and put on a blue set. When I got into bed last night, there was a green bottom sheet on. I found the other blue one in the laundry." "Oh, hell, I thought I know. You're colorblind. You put the green one on, thinking it was blue." "Yes, I thought I put a blue one on. I'm sorry. If it bothers you that much, I'll switch them." Jesus Christ. "That's it? That's freaking it? You'll switch them? You know what? Leave them. It won't matter." "I'm sorry, Mr. Walsh. It was my fault." I turned around and Andrew was standing there. "No, Andrew. She's a big girl. Her decisions have consequences." Then it dawned on me. She was sleeping with Andrew. His girlfriend broke up with him because he was cheating on her. He was cheating on her with my wife. I buried my fist in his stomach and he doubled over. I was about to hit him in the face when Maya grabbed my arm and was screaming, "Jesus Christ, David, what the hell is wrong with you? This is not a big deal." I was suddenly very calm. "You know what, Maya? Screw you. Screw you and screw him. I'll go to the house and pack some stuff." With that, I stepped around Andrew, who was trying not to vomit. I went to my truck and sat in the driver's seat for a minute, taking deep breaths. I saw Maya leave the building, helping Andrew and locking the front doors behind her. She saw me in my truck and started yelling. I couldn't tell if she was yelling to me or at me, but it didn't matter. I pulled out of the lot and took off. I drove to a secluded area a few miles away and parked. I laid my head back and went over everything that happened. I couldn't believe how casual she was being. I basically caught her making out with this kid in my bed, and she was acting like the only problem was that the sheets didn't match. Obviously, we had different ideas about monogamy. I may not be old-fashioned, but I'm definitely a nobody outside the marriage kind of guy. I didn't see any way forward for us. I loved her, but this was a bridge too far. What the hell happened to the sobbing and crying? Where was the pathetic conciliatory apologies? What the hell? She was willing to go home and switch the sheets so they matched? What the hell was that? No, we had a great run, but this roller coaster was at the end of the track. With that realization, I started my truck and headed home. I started thinking about all the things I would have to do to separate our lives. And I suddenly got very tired. I decided I would go home, get this next confrontation over with, and crash in the second bedroom. As I pulled up to my house, I saw Maya's car in the driveway. I parked in the street so as to not block her in if she eventually decided to leave. I doubted she planned on leaving, though. I figured that since she expected my cooperation in her little dalliance, she figured it would blow over and no one would be moving out. I walked through the front door and the onslaught began. The car was beautiful. I walked through the front door and the onslaught began. What the hell is wrong with you? You punched that kid in the stomach for what? Defiling your bed? Are you kidding me? Get a grip. Look, Maya. Don't look, Maya, me. Are you out of your mind? And why is that sheet spread out in the backyard? You trying to show the neighbors that somebody got laid here? God forbid that happens, right? You know what? You win. I win? I freaking win? You come here and realize through your master detective skills that love happened in our bed and you go off the deep end? You come to my job and punch out the kid? You take the dirty sheet and spread it out in the backyard? How did you even have that sheet? I washed it. I saved it and threw a clean one in the chute, I said in a quiet voice. You saved it? What the hell is wrong with you? Just then the doorbell started ringing. Look, Maya, I don't even care anymore. I'm gonna go lay down." "Huh?" "No, you're not. You sit down right there," and plopped down onto the love seat as Maya went to answer the door. I heard voices. Then Maya returned with Andrew and a young girl that looked to be 18-ish. I shook hands with Andrew, his wife Kate, and they helped me set up the new studio and make things easier for me. "Mr. Walsh, this is my, girlfriend, Michelle." "Mr. Walsh, I'm really sorry. This whole thing is my fault. It was my idea." Always gets distracted. I was sitting with my head tilted back and my eyes closed. I was surprisingly calm. "Michelle, are you telling me it was your idea for Andrew to sleep with my wife?" "What?" Maya and Andrew both screamed at the same time. They both started yelling at the same time, and I couldn't understand either of them. I caught bits and pieces like, "What the hell?" "I swear I never," freaking kidding me, "never touched her." "Lost your mind." Suddenly Maya yelled for everyone to shut up. She stood in front of me, breathing hard and staring daggers at me. It was the first time I figured I may have slightly misread the situation. "Did you actually think it was me that had made love with Andrew in our bed?" she said. I shook my head at my former partner and looked around for her needle and the papers. No, they were gone. I didn't feel puzzled by the fact that I hadn't brought with me anything like Andrew in our bed. "Well, yeah. Where in the hell would you think that?" "Why not?" I replied. "It was obvious someone did. The bottom sheet was changed after one day. The dirty sheet was in the laundry. Luke knew I would be gone overnight." "Wait, you thought I had Luke here?" "Well, at first, yeah. But I went to his house." "Oh my God. Please tell me you didn't get in a fight with him." "No, he wasn't there, and his sister told me he was there all night Friday. Claire said he stayed at home all night because he had to leave early to catch a flight to Germany." "And you weren't there?" "Oh, Jesus." "Of course not. You think I would do something like that?" "Seriously, David?" she said while making a sweeping motion with her arm indication, all the stuff going on. "Okay," I said. "Fair point." "Then, when I left his house, I figured I would go to your job and calmly confront you about it. When Andrew walked up behind me and said it was all his fault, I assumed, that you and him—" "Oh my God, look, David, Andrew and I did not have love in our bed. We haven't had love anywhere, for that matter. On Friday, at work, we decided to have a get-together here, Friday night. There were 10, maybe 12 people here. Mr. Walsh," Michelle started at one point. "At one point, I talked Andrew into sneaking off and fooling around. Maya had told us that you wouldn't be home until the next afternoon." "Honey," Maya said, "we were all in the backyard with the fire going. We all had a lot to drink. We never realized they were missing. By the time we did, and I went to look for them, the bad things had already happened. I found them asleep in our bed. I went into the guest room and passed out there. Many of the people who received glass of water every time they got sick. And I woke you up in the morning." "Yes, you woke me up. I knew I needed to clean up. I knew you would freak out about the bed. So I changed the sheet with what I thought was a blue one. I cleaned up the rest of the house and threw away the empties. If you look in the recycle bin, you'll see the empties. The only thing I really wanted to hide from you was Andrew and Michelle being in our bed." I wasn't sure how to respond. "Andrew, I sincerely apologize for hitting you," I said. "It's okay, Mr. Walsh." "Okay, first, stop calling me Mr. Walsh. You call my wife by her first name, do the same with me. We're not really that far apart in age. Look, I'm really sorry. You guys gotta see why I thought what I did, right?" Maya was staring at me but had the hint of a smile. "You really thought that Andrew and I hooked up?" "Well..." "Excuse me, you want to explain that?" "Well, I had to make a deal with Claire for her to give me the info I wanted. She made me promise that if we split up, I would take her out on a date. The girl is an absolute sweetheart. I actually liked her more than Luke when we were dating. Don't you lead her on. Okay, can we put this whole thing to bed? I will apologize for my behavior as long as you guys can see things from my point of view. We good? We agreed to drop it and of course promised to have better communication in the future. As if that would happen. I guess if nothing else, Maya knew exactly where I stood on infidelity. We took Andrew and Michelle out to dinner to kind of make up for the misunderstanding. We drank a lot of beer, and the picnics followed. The day turned dark and had grown colder, still not enough to restore sleep. Maya, thinking she was being funny, labeled all the sheets with their color, so when my boyfriend leaves I can make sure I replace the sheets with the same color. Okay, it was actually pretty funny. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like this video, comment your thoughts below, and of course subscribe to the channel for more gripping stories like this one. And make sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.